Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with the Finding Yourself Book Club, and today we're going to talk about Chapter 1 of John Gottman's What Makes Love Last. Before we dive into it, just let me put in the plug for our business. Please check out our site, www.findingyourselfsatx.com. Super excited to bring this to you. I know last video I talked a lot about comparisons of their writing styles, and I didn't think I was going to be able to read from the book at all. Forgive me, my hair is just, as it's growing out, it's just getting more and more unruly. So it turns out I was able to find some interesting sections that I can read out to you guys. So I'm going to start with that. Chapter 1 covers the trust metric, and it has it written out here, the example written out here. Obviously, I can't go through the test with you, but recommend you pick up your copy. And then whether you're single, whether you're with someone, if you're in a relationship, just go ahead and take the test, and then we'll go over the summary of what builds up to the actual quiz as well as the results of the quiz. So I formulated my trust metric by thinking of the faithfulness between partners in terms of game theory. This is an approach to mathematics that delves deeply into questions of trust, but traditionally, its goals have not included saving relationships. Game theory was popular during the Cold War, when analysts hoped that scrutinizing decision-making would let them better predict the behavior of hostile groups or nations during confrontations. Game theory is based on the mathematics put forth by Doctors John von Neumann and Oscar Morgenstern in their pivotal book, Theory of Games and Economic Behavior. Mathematicians now recognize game theory's limitations, but its development led to Nobel Prizes and inspired a generation of Cold Warriors to foresee a future in which computers could assess the advantages of various diplomatic tactics. I doubt its proponents envisioned how useful a tool it would be for couples wishing to triumph at love, not war. Now, I'll tell you that when I read that John Gottman, that his research was based on game theory, I was just super excited to read about it because I'm an econ nerd. That's what I majored in school. And one of my favorite professors was a game theory professor. So, in game theory terms, the couple's equilibrium. So here he's going down an example of Jenny and Al talking about payoffs related to cleaning house. In game theory terms, the couple's decision to clean together is the enactment of the Nash equilibrium, first proposed by the Nobel Prize-winning mathematician John Nash, the subject of the Academy Award-winning movie A Beautiful Mind. In the Nash equilibrium, both people end up in a position where they are receiving their maximum payoff and will not benefit more if they try to change the situation by themselves. However, unlike typical players, the now trusting Jenny and Al have reached this stance in order to increase each other's payoffs, not just their own. The story of Jenny and Al's dirty townhouse may seem pretty inconsequential, but it demonstrates distrust with great accuracy. If you don't have faith in your partner, you take the stance that he or she should change so that you can maximize your own payoffs. Likewise, your partner wants to change your behavior for his or her own selfish reasons. When distrust abounds, neither of you includes the other's well-being in your calculations. Turn this description of distrust around, and you have my definition of its opposite. Trust is not some vague quality that grows between two people. It is the specific state that exists when you are both willing to change your own behavior to benefit your partner. The more trust that exists in a relationship, the more you look out for each other. You have your beloved's back, and vice versa. In a trusting relationship, you feel pleasure when your partner succeeds and troubled when he or she is upset. You just can't be happy if achieving your payoffs would hurt your significant other. So then he goes on to describe, so he's trying to build our trust in his research. So he goes on to talk about how he came up to his trust metric, talking about the Love Lab. Basically what they would do is video people having conflicts. And then, since you can't like stop the conflict and say, hey, Jenny, how do you feel about Al in this situation? they go back and watch it, and then they turn a dial to explain how they feel. So then he can take the two, right? He can take the readings of the people as they're talking, and then the partner is going to kind of assess how they felt during that situation. And with the two combined, he gives his trust metric. So pretty cool stuff here. He goes into explaining all of the responses. He looped them into 3 different boxes. So I'll read this section. So to make this huge amount of data manageable, I lumped all of a couple's responses into one of 3 boxes I called nasty, neutral, or nice. The nasty box held all negative behaviors, including displays of anger, criticism, belligerence, bullying, defensiveness, sadness, disappointment, fear, tension, whining, disgust, stonewalling, and contempt. At the opposite end, the nice box housed positive emotions and behaviors such as interest, amusement, humor, laughter, excitement, joy, validation, and empathy. The leftovers, those blah reactions that were neither positive or negative, I put into the neutral box. So then later on in the book, he talks a lot about staying out of your nasty box. Okay, so here is just a graph depiction of the discussion, and then he's mapping. So basically when you can see the 2 points are opposite is when there's problems in the marriage. Okay. Okay. So then you might be thinking that despite all of the complicated mathematics behind them, my conclusions about trust and betrayal are pretty self-evident. It's true that you don't need an expert's research to inform you that trust is good for a marriage and betrayal is bad. Nor is it necessary to film a couple in a laboratory to determine whether they are living in bliss or are at war. Sometimes you can just have them over for dinner. But most relationships fall between the extremes. It's common for couples to feel some unease about the future, even if they aren't experiencing a noticeable problem in the present. I have worked with many couples who misread their situation, particularly when it comes to understanding the interplay between their payoffs and actions toward each other. This is where the math offers me enormous help. By developing a way to measure trust in any single interaction between a couple, I've gained critical insight into the inner workings of all relationships, including those whose likely future is not so apparent. Based on this research, I can offer valid advice to all couples on how to rescue or protect their love. So then we get to the quiz. Hopefully you take the quiz, and then I will go over with you what the results mean. So, and I will say that with my partner, so I took the quiz with him in March, and we had a metric in the, let's see, so it was high, but it was on the lower side of high. And then we took it again in August. This was all in 2020, and then we were doing much better. So after having worked through the book together, our trust metric was much better. And that's the point of the book. He wants you to take like an initial assessment, see where you are, and then work through everything in the book, then take another assessment to see where you are now. So, okay, what does my score mean? So after you've taken the quiz, what does your score mean? 0 to 52. You have a low degree of trust in your partner and your relationship. You have a low degree of trust in your partner and your relationship. Not all couples are meant to be together forever, but even matches that struggle with trust issues can work things out if both partners make a strong commitment to the process. Before reading the rest of this book, consider turning to chapter 10. It will help you assess whether your partner is someone you just shouldn't trust. Reading this book by yourself can clarify your situation and may help you make positive changes in your interactions with your partner. But if he or she will agree, try to work through the exercises together. Some soul searching is in order here. Do you both have enough motivation to do this? If so, retake this quiz after you finish the book and have put its advice into action. If your score remains low, seek more individualized help. 53 to 105. Your level of trust is moderate. You have faith in your partner, but uncertainty as well. You can bolster your relationship by working on the exercises in this book. Although it's best to work together, your relationship can still benefit if you make progress on your own. When one member of a couple becomes clearer about needs and desires, often the relationship comes into sharper focus for both of them, making positive changes easier. If your trust metric does not improve, it's time to decide whether you're both committed to making your relationship your top priority. If your metric is now higher, that's a powerful sign that the more you continue to open up to each other, the happier and more fulfilling your relationship is likely to become. 106 to 210. You have a deep sense of trust in your partner. Such a sturdy foundation improves the likelihood that your relationship will remain happy over the long term. Still, if you scored in the bottom half of this particular range, it would be worthwhile to have honest conversations about your relationship. If your trust level is very high, this book can still benefit you. Consider reading it together as a romantic experience that will affirm just how in love you are and also give you tools to help you stay that way. So hopefully you picked up your copy. I can't talk. I would say if this was the first time, then maybe it's like a blip, but it seems like the past 3 or 4 videos I can't speak right. So hopefully you picked up your copy. When we meet again, we'll discuss chapter 2. I may need a day or two to figure out what exactly I'm going to discuss, since I want to keep these to under 15 minutes. If you would like to chat, go to our site, www.findingyourselfsatx.com. You can find my contact information. You can find Penny's contact information. And if we haven't chatted before, your first consult is always free. You can also see pricing on our site. And if you're just interested in doing kind of some self-study, we have resources available on the site as well. So you can purchase our full suite for $20. And I'm working on uploading individual documents, which will be like $2.50 each. Unfortunately, the credit card processing takes a big chunk of it. I wanted to just put them up for $1, but it would end up being a loss. So working on it, I'm working on it as you all are working on yourselves. This is a journey that we're taking together. So super excited. Hopefully I'll hear from you. Would love to chat, and we'll talk more soon. Bye.